Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Tom Laus, Communications Director, City of Marshfield, and this is our Connections program. And today in the studio, I have an alderman here with me, and we're going to learn more about Adam Fischer. He joined our council a little over a year ago, I believe.
It would have been October of last year.
Oh, time flies so fast.
It does.
It feels like it's been longer.
Yeah.
But congratulations to being there.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we're going to get to know Adam quite a bit better. Hopefully help you if you're in his district. You can call him and really just chat about things to help our city a better place to work, play, and have fun here. But before we begin, Adam, I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about yourself, your family, so we get to know you a little bit more before we go into the political part of what you do.
Sure. Yeah, well, I've lived here in Marshfield since 1997. So I've lived here, I think 23 years. I was born in Rochester, Minnesota. My dad worked at St. Mary's Hospital, but was eventually bought out by the Mayo Clinic. And I just joke we kind of jumped from medical community to medical community as he kind of took new positions. We ended up for about 4.5 years in Richmond, Virginia. So I lived in Richmond, did from about 3rd grade to 7th grade there, and then I came to Wisconsin and landed in Mosinee, Wisconsin for about 1.5 years, and then we moved here the summer before my freshman year in high school. So I am a graduate of Marshfield High School. Proud to be a graduate, and I've never left. I've stayed in the community, married a hometown girl who has been here all but college years. She moved away, and we've raised a family, and we actually have 3 kids. We have a real passion for foster care and adoption, and so actually all 3 of my children are adopted. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So we have 2 boys and a girl. We live on the east side of town, kind of past the fairgrounds, and so we just love the community. We love everything about Marshfield. We love central Wisconsin, and it's just a great place to raise a family.
Yes, it is. And you noting Rochester, just close to my hometown, Winona, Minnesota.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm familiar with St. Mary's. I've been up there many times, and my family is in that area. My wife, Plainview, Minnesota. So very familiar with Rochester, but not Richmond, Virginia area, or where you were working in for a few years there. But well, welcome, and this is a great chance to be a part of the city by being on the council for yourself. Is this your first time to be on a governmental board? Or?
No, it's not actually. I actually started on the Wood County Board of Supervisors back in 2016. So Pete Hendler, who is on the city council, was also serving on the Wood County Board, and he resigned 3 months into his term. And so in September of 2016, there was an opening, and I applied and had to interview in front of the county board chair and vice chair, and then they essentially nominated me to be appointed to fill that vacancy. And then in 2018, I ran for the first time for county board, and then again in April of 2020, I ran for county board. So that's kind of my past of how I got into government. And then when Jason Zaleski stepped down as the alderman in my district, I saw the opening, and I just have a love for local government and what local government it's all about. And so when I saw the opening, I'm like, you know what, if my fellow council members think I'd be good, I'd like to fill the role and do my part. And so I filled out the rest of his term, and then ran in April.
All right, so you're in your first year of this term. You served part of Zaleski's term.
Yes, I did.
And so these are 2-year terms. So if our public is wondering how long do you get to serve, and then in 2022, you would, if you're interested in doing that again, you would go back and reapply for that district that you're in. And a lot of work to this, but let's talk a little bit about the county board, since we were talking about that and earlier before we became on our camera system here. I was talking about you do a few other things in the county board as well because you're not where all the other board supervisors are.
Yeah, so I'm actually the first vice chair of the Wood County Board. So the way the Wood County Board is set up is there's 19 supervisors throughout the county, and then amongst themselves, they elect a chair, a first vice chair, and a second vice chair. It's kind of the hierarchy of the board. And so this past April, I ran for the first vice chair and was elected by my peers. And so I was very honored to receive that position. It's essentially a leadership position. So when the chair is absent from the meeting, I would resume the role of chairing the meetings. I've done other things for the chair, from sitting in on WDLB interviews, down in Rapids, sitting in on interviews. He can ask me to go to events on his behalf. It really is just, I don't want to say like a president, vice president, but there's that role of having a leadership position and definitely stepping in when I'm needed. And so that's why I sit, as you and I were talking, I sit in that different seat. So
yeah, I was wondering that because the current clerk was in that area before, if I remember right, because of my 8 to 10 years in the Rapids area working, so I had many times to go to the county board in different ways to see what's happening. Since it's in Rapids, it's a little bit harder to get down there. There's a ward, though, is that right, that you have? Is that what they call them, wards?
Yeah, districts.
Okay.
So I am the District 5 County Board Supervisor, so that is pretty much everything east of Peach. So I have almost everything east of Peach in the city of Marshfield for my county district.
And that's different than your city.
Yeah, actually, the city wards, there's multiple city wards that make up your county district.
Okay.
And so I actually have part of my city district, and then I have Rebecca Spiros' city district, and then Pete Hendler's city district in my county district.
Okay. So some of those constituents that work with those alderpersons may want to contact you regarding county issues.
Yeah, and please do contact me anytime. I really do believe in the idea of representing people, and I want to hear from them. So if there's ever a county issue or city issue for that matter, please do reach out to me.
What's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you? Email, phone? You can.
Well, email is probably the best way to do that. You can look on the city or county website. The emails are listed. It's probably too long to share, but I would definitely point people, if you're interested in contacting, go to that city or county website, and you can find my email. And contact me. I think I'm sometimes more of a millennial than I sometimes realize, because technology is probably the first point of contact for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the days of the phone book are so long gone. We don't even know. You might have just a cell. Most people don't even have landlines. But
that's true.
They can go to ci.marshfield.wi.us, and right from there, they can look for the Common Council, and you're listed right there, and your phone number and an email now. Or his email's always been there, and then you'll get right back to their question and hopefully help them.
Yeah, and the phone number that is listed is my cell phone number, so you will have immediate access.
Yeah, because that's something that you can goes with you at all times. Unless you're in an area that you can't reach, but that's understandable. Go to voicemail, and you'll reach back to them. And I bet you encourage any of your people or anyone really to come to a meeting.
I do. I think people. I encourage people to come to meetings because I really believe. Like I said earlier, I believe in local government. I mean, I think sometimes that's where some of the most positive change can occur. And so if you want something, make your voice heard. Come to the meetings. Really, there is power in sharing your thoughts and being in attendance.
Well, let's take a step back a little bit to your high school days. You are a Marshfield graduate at the public school here?
Yeah, at the public school.
Were you interested in civics back then?
I was always interested in politics. I was never in like a civics club or anything like that. But no, I've always had a passion for, actually I always joke that my three passions in life outside of my family are, I'm interested in politics, money, and religion. And the three things you can't talk about at the dinner table. So, those are the things that I find interesting. And so from a young age, I mean, I remember 1992, it was an election year. I was 10 years old, and everyone was surprised, why is Adam watching the TV and watching the debates? But it always intrigued me. It's always intrigued me. So.
Yeah, back then that was probably President Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton.
It was his first run, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's a long time ago already, isn't it?
It is.
The time does fly. How do you balance your work, your work, and your family? It's not easy, is it?
No, it's not easy. You really have to prioritize. I will say I'm blessed and lucky. I'm a self-employed business owner, so I do have some flexibility to be able to kind of control my schedule as a business owner, and so it does definitely help when I'm balancing county, city, family, and all the other responsibilities in life.
Yeah, and your passion for this is really important. It's what drives you to want to do this. You do get a little bit of money as part of the deal, but you're not going to make a living off being an alderman.
You're not going to make a living. No, it's. I always say I really do believe it's a public service that you're doing. You're trying to serve people. Yes, you do get paid. Never deny that. But no, it's obviously not going to make a living off of it.
All right. Well, we're sitting here with Adam Fischer. He's an alderman for the city of Marshfield, and we're going to talk to him here about some of his goals, initiatives, things that he would like to see happen. So we'll start off right now. You came in new to the council. You haven't been on this council before, and there's a couple on there that have been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's always can be a little bit intimidating as well. And you get to meet the staff and how that works. Every government is quite a bit different. I've noticed to myself working in Rapids and here opposites in how they work, and I'm sure with the county is a lot of difference as well. But let's hear some of the things that maybe you would like to do in your district, or do you have some goals that you would like to share? Yeah,
well, I will share this. I'm very passionate about the city of Marshfield, and I am very passionate about economic development. To be very, I guess, candid on how government works is our main revenue is taxation and is taxes. And so there's really, in my opinion, there's two ways to raise revenue when you're a city or a county, and that is to increase taxes or try to increase your tax base. And so to be, I think, fiscally responsible to the people who live here in Marshfield, I've always been a big proponent for, can we increase the tax base so that we're not always having to increase the tax burden on homeowners and people living in the city, because there are some people who are on fixed incomes, and even a small amount of money can really affect their day-to-day budget. And so I believe in economic development, and I believe that the city of Marshfield has been doing some great things. I mean, they did over the last few years. City staff has done a wonderful job with kind of the housing studies and some of the housing projects that they've done. But I think there's always more things we can do to try and bring more businesses, more homeowners into the city. I think, COVID has been rough on us, but it's taught us a lot of things. And one of the things I think it has taught us is we can live in a virtual world. And so, even the idea of can you work from home and live wherever you want? And maybe people are starting to realize, hey, I would like to live in rural central Wisconsin. So what are some ways that, as the city of Marshfield, we can market ourselves, for maybe lack of a better word, to attract people to say, hey, I want to live there. I want to raise my family there because as someone who's lived in Marshfield, I love this community and I think it has a lot to offer. So those are some things that I'm very passionate about and wanting to maybe add to the conversation. And again, I think we've done some great things, but I want to contribute to continue that work.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and you don't think of it in that way of having people come here, but may have that job in New York, Los Angeles, but don't want to commute and don't want to live in that kind of lifestyle. And now with all the changes in the world, you start thinking some of these communities that have a different living atmosphere, hopefully more quiet and not so riots, we look attractive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have an amazing school district here. I mean, you can go an hour away and find some really great places to just enjoy. I mean, even in our own backyard, we have, Powers Bluff. We have just a lot of great attractions here. And I think Marshfield has a lot to offer, and I just love what we've done, and I believe we can do even more in the years to come. I mean, I think of what we've done with the Winslow Plaza, some of the other projects, and I think as we continue to put the community first and start to kind of leverage ourselves, I really do believe more and more people might want to come here, and I think that's a good thing. And I think also it helps us financially as a city because as you have more tax bases, there's more ability to collect those revenues.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think we really have a land issue. We're not landlocked. There is land available to build. I mean, there are cities that you're not going anywhere. So we're lucky into that respect. So I guess marketing is key and developing things like our new pool, right?
Yeah.
That have a place for families to enjoy at probably a cost that isn't really outrageous to go for the day or two. A lot of people can't afford going down maybe to the Dells or even maybe Disney, I want to say.
Yeah.
We're going to have an excellent water park here.
Yes, exactly. And I think that was a forward-thinking move on the part of the council. And I think those are the things we need to keep constantly at the forefront. What can we do to continue to make Marshfield a place that people would like to live and play?
Well, the hardest part now is we have to spend the money, and if we don't have the money, how do you do that? That's one of the things. So coming up here in the fall, you got to be part of the budget process. You're one of the 10 aldermen that are going to decide where the city, these departments are going to be going and what they can spend and what they can't spend, and moving forward and being financially fiscal and doing what's right. Is there other ways? I guess you kind of mentioned, you hope there isn't a big tax or no tax increase. Is there other ways, wheel tax things that all comes up? But what would you, maybe get a little sneak peek to what you're thinking when that time in November comes around?
Yeah, and budget times are always hard, and I think this year is going to be very difficult for multiple reasons. And I've heard the mayor say this, and I agree with the mayor on this. He's talked about COVID being a rough year and not wanting to see people struggle. And I do agree with him. COVID has caused a lot of hardship for some people financially. And so I think we need to be mindful of that. But we also, if people have been following the city's financial situation, there is definitely a need for some increases. And so I think the city council is going to have a very interesting budget year. And I think for me, it's really too early to say where I'm at on this issue. I don't want to speak out of turn, but it's going to be a tough budget. We might have to raise taxes. That's very possible. But I think we need to look at first what are the recommendations of the staff coming to us? And then I'm a big proponent in always asking tough questions, not because I'm against people, but let's be transparent. We are local government, so let's ask the tough questions. Let's be transparent so that the public knows that even if we do have to raise taxes, well, you did your due diligence. You asked those questions to be transparent so that people know, okay, this is what's really going on.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why you want to ask those questions, to make sure also the public is aware of those, and it gets that out. I as a journalist, I understand that's what we do as journalism. Although what I do now is a little bit different journalism, but I do understand what you're saying, and it's important to be transparent to the public in all roles. Our roles as staff over there as well need to be aware. We work for them, really. We work for the public. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the public. We would have nothing, because without that, like you say, taxes are pretty much what pay most of the way for having these services that we offer. And services are important, I believe, in a city to offer. Good roads are also important too, and I'm sure on the county that's another area that is 5-10 times larger than what you deal with here in the city, right?
Yeah, it is. There's always big issues, even at the county, and you're right. But I think the key is always remembering, and I appreciated you saying this, remembering who we serve. From you as a staff person to me as an elected official, we do serve the public, and the decisions we make, I believe, should be influenced by their thoughts. And so, share those thoughts. And, even with this budget, if you have ideas, come to a council meeting, and there's a time for you to make public comments, make those public comments. Reach out to your alderperson and talk to us as well, and talk to city staff. I think we have a lot of great city staff, and don't be afraid to pick up the phone and share your ideas with them. I really do believe that we want to do what's best for the public, and so I just encourage the public to definitely pick up the phone, email us as elected officials, staff, and tell us what you think.
Yeah, because the process is, if you don't know, you really can't fix it.
Yeah.
You don't want to, complaining doesn't work, but really reaching out, it's a concern. I don't really want to call it a complaint. I don't like the word complaint. I like the word a concern. David and I over here were talking about that earlier and how we use terminology in our website, but it could be a referral. At the end of an agenda on a council meeting, there's a chance for you as an alderman to bring up new updates for the next council meeting. That's kind of like a referral. So I basically is a referral. Someone could ask you a question that you would like to bring to the council or a committee. Yeah. That's the way it works. So if you don't hear, you don't know. And I guess you and the constituent can talk about it. That is not anything against open records. That's you and the resident. It's not you and 4 other alderpersons we couldn't do at that time, but it's you and the constituent. So that's the time to do that. I think the more I feel the more public engagement, I would think you do as well, is better. I do. I really do believe that. And, I can think of, and probably since I'm so new at the city, I can think more of this at the county level because I've had more years to do it. But, when I do hear from people, I take, to me, that weighs heavy on me. Because now I'm starting to go, okay, this might be what I think, but this is what the public thinks. And I really start to listen to them and go, it truly is all about them. So then I have to really start to think through the issue, get deeper into it. And even sometimes when you hear conflicting opinions, then it really starts to make my job interesting. And I'll be honest about that, to go, okay, I have maybe 4 people here and 3 people here that disagree. So it forces me to educate myself more to then go, okay, what's the decision
that I have to make, and as a staff person, what is the decision that you have to recommend? And that's why I love, and I'm going to just kind of circle back, this is why I love local government, because we really can, when it's in your own backyard. Sometimes it's easy to go, I want things to change in Washington, D.C. I want things to change in Madison. But you really can make positive change in your own backyard. And by collaborating with staff, elected officials to get your ideas out, and I agree with you, share your concerns and share your ideas. What are some things you would like to see? These might be things that don't cross my mind, don't cross your mind, but once it's on our radar now, we can collaborate to find the best solution. It might not always be the solution that was first proposed, but maybe we can find a better one.
All right. We have just a few minutes left, and I'll go back to our committees and boards you serve in. Can you just tell us those? Because those are really important. They're the ones that do the work to get onto the council agenda. I don't want to miss those.
Yeah. So I serve on the Board of Public Works, which is one of the two standing committees. And then I also serve on the Economic Development Board, which I was very grateful to be appointed to because that is one of my passions. And so those are the two committees that I serve on behalf of the city.
Yeah, and the Public Works is a big one.
It is a big
Every 2 weeks on a Monday,
Yes.
5:30. Again, that's open to the public. That's a good time also to bring any concerns that are related to Public Works, which are engineering, streets, wastewater.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to say this with the great job that you guys are doing. You can watch these now on Facebook Live, and I'll be honest, I have really appreciated that. I watch some of the committee meetings on Facebook Live myself and from my phone, and so I would really encourage people to get engaged. I mean, even through social media now, you can get connected to the city's Facebook page and watch these meetings.
You bet. Thank you so much. And as we grow as a communications department, which we're just about as young as you on the council here with a new department, less than a year and a half really getting into this, really not till May of last year, taking over this public access portion as well. But we're hoping to have some new tools for our citizens, our visitors to learn about Marshfield, learn about our city government, ask questions, and we hope those will help. It could be apps, it could be kiosks, it could be all those things. Our better website is going to be coming out here really shortly. I just actually sent it to staff as a draft today, and I'll probably be giving it to other persons as well to look at.
That's great.
I said I would be giving that out for a quick sneak peek that David and I have been working on for the past several months, taking a lot of work. But I know you on the EDB board is also looking at ideas for the local businesses too, because that's part of the process, right? You work with Main Street.
Yeah, with the Economic Development Board, we work with Mackey, Main Street Marshfield, the Winslow Plaza Committee, some of what I call the stakeholders and some of our partners.
All right. Well, we're out of time. It goes fast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming by. If anybody wants to get a hold of Adam, you can go on the city website, ci.marshfield.wi.us. Come to a meeting. He's going to be at a public works meeting or a council meeting. I'm sure that you'd be willing to talk before or after the meeting if needed to. Or there'll be a phone number available for you as well on that website, and he would get back to you or an email as soon as he can. And hopefully that's a great way to engage in your community, get your questions and answers filled out and understood by what Adam needs, and bring it to the council if needed. And I think Adam have a better place to live.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it as that. I'm Tom Laux for Connections. I thank David Bennett behind the scenes of doing the production, and we'll be back with another alderman. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's going to be Hendler that asked about it. So, thanks for joining me again, Tom Laux, City of Marshfield Communications Director on Connections.